Welcome, everyone, to Tuesdays with Tim. Tim recently got married to 3 cartoon wives, according to the thumbnail.
Yay!
And so anything to make Tim happy. And so
My 3 favorite hair colors.
yeah.
That means you have 3
See what's going on here. It's
Pardon?
4 nights a week that you're going to be very busy. And
Very
then you get
busy.
next week to rest up and get plenty of fluids and get ready for your next week.
Plenty of fluids. More body armor.
So anyhow, I attended the Journal of Mormon Polygamy conference, and Tim thought it would be good to talk about that and then polygamy in general. And so let's, Tim, do sort of a little overview of what the church now claims might have been Joseph Smith's polygamy. Can you give us just off the top of your head, just like your hair?
Well, how'd you know I got a haircut today?
There's a couple missing. I mean, a couple still floating in the air.
If I go by Richard Bachman, his thesis and his article, and I think it was Journal of Mormon History, it may have begun in 1831 or 32 when he sent them to the Lamanites to get wives from the Lamanites, right? So he was thinking about it 31 or 32, and then he takes Fanny in 36, I guess, 36, 37, and then he takes a couple of more between then and 1842, and then on January 6, 1842, which is my Brigham Young's Masonic connection and Nauvoo plural marriages, is the first sealing takes place, where Joseph seals himself, is sealed by either Brigham or Heber to Agnes Cobra Smith, who was the widow of Don Carlos, to raise up seed unto Don Carlos. So it was a Levirate marriage. And then he marries other women after that until he dies in 1844. And he married between 35 to 40 women that we know about. And there may be more. I know that.
What number was Emma Smith as being sealed to Joseph?
22nd or 23rd, where she got her second anointing. Yeah, I think it was 22nd or 23rd when she was sealed to him. I can't remember exactly.
If you can't come in first place, it's always good to at least come in 22nd or 23rd.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't remember who the last one was.
But
it was
Emma,
shortly before he was. And then afterwards, after Joseph's death, Brigham and Heber and Willard would go around to people's houses and seal them together. That is also my paper I give from Brigham's and Heber's diary, that they went around and did sealings. Some were plural marriages, polygamy, and some were not.
Now, sometimes men were sealed together, right?
Sometimes men were sealed together, yes. Yes.
What? Wait. Time out. Why in the hell were men sealed together?
They were adopted in to the family. That's when the sealings and adoptions came in. And everybody was adopted to Joseph Smith. You were sealed to Joseph Smith because Joseph Smith had the keys to bring people into heaven. And so everybody sealed themselves. That happened until the 1890s when, was it Wilfred Windorf or Lorenzo Snow changed it, went to sealing the families back to Adam. But up until that time, everybody was sealed to Joseph Smith and adopted into his lineage.
Just a minute, for just a second, I thought maybe they allowed same-sex couples to be sealed.
Well, Joseph Smith may have had that proclivity. Yeah, there's evidence for that. Okay, there is evidence for that.
Hey, I'm all about it. So if it happened,
it happened
for me.
Yeah.
Joseph Smith, and then Peter Pan sexual.
And then in 1850, what was it? 4 53,
Looking out for
54.
Lost Boys.
Orson Hyde. Orson Hyde gets up in conference and announces to the world that we practice polygamy. And
1852.
Thank you, 1852. Couldn't remember. And then in 1890, there was the first manifesto. And then in 1901, there was a second manifesto. And then finally in 1932, J. Reuben Clark and others wrote a third manifesto divesting the church of polygamy, because the last plural marriage took place in 1925 in the Logan Temple, and Mike Quinn is my source for that. So, and I can't remember where I read it.
After that, like the fourth manifesto, I think in the early 1930s, basically said, if anybody does polygamy from now on, you're going to be excommunicated.
Right.
But we're going to grandfather all the current polygamists and let them have their. We don't want to break up any families.
Well, remember, because everybody up through George Albert were polygamists. All of those presidents, Grant, George Albert, you know.
You know, I'm surprised we have any female panelists in the show today, or female, you know, in the comments. I'm surprised there's any females watching, because I would have thought that with Dallin Oaks allowing them to be in Sunday school presidencies now, that most of them would have gone back to the church so they could have a chance at becoming Sunday school president.
The Sunday school presidency lottery.
Right? But I'm glad that we have them in our listening audience, because that would be boring if we didn't. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Just
throwing that in there. Yeah, I mean, Tuesdays are usually free for the Sunday school presidency. Yeah, show off your ring.
My fiance made me a ring.
That almost could be your superhero ring for Sundays.
I know, right? I should get you a blue one and Jessica a, what color does she wear? Yellow?
Gold, maybe gold.
Maybe, yeah. And then we could put our rings together just to see what happens.
Hallie says she has no desire to be Sunday school president.
Why not, Hallie?
Well, I think that would just be a real thrill.
I think it'd be fun, Hallie. I was a Sunday school president once for a singles ward.
Kim's all puffed up.
The ring is made of resin.
Yes, she makes all different projects with resin, and she decided to try rings today, and she brought a few of them, and I said, "Wow, can you make a red one for me? Because I love red."
That's cool.
Unlike crystals that might have a vibration, resin just resonates.
Ooh.
Wow, that was actually pretty good. I was wondering what that vibration I was hearing was.
Yeah.
Cool.
Tim, what was your main responsibility as president of the Sunday school?
Pick the teachers.
And ring the bell. 5 minutes to go.
Ring the bell. Yeah.
The 5 minutes to go bell. Call on somebody. End your lesson and call on somebody to close the prayer with the prayer.
That was my third calling after I got home my mission, I think. I was with the young man's, and then when I was at Rick's, I was a family home evening group leader, and then when I got back to the singles ward, they made me Sunday school president. And then after that, I spent it in elders quorums.
At a school college, the family home evening coordinator is so that you can have more access to the single women. Get you married.
There were more women than guys in our family home evening group, okay?
Yeah.
There were like 3 guys and 8 girls or something like that.
But you're supposed to call all 8 girls every week to make sure they're going to be there, right? Give them an assignment.
Right.
And if, he pleads with them. Please come.
Did you memorize any of their phone numbers is what I want to know. At the time, not now, but.
No, because maybe that was 1976.
And Hallie says, do you think they'll let the female Sunday school president pick the teachers? Now, even
Yes.
a male Sunday school president, when they pick the teachers, still has to be approved by the bishop. So it's always got to be approved by some higher up.
Some male.
And so,
3 guys, 8 girls.
yeah.
I think that's what I don't remember exactly, but it was quite a big bunch. And I did date one of them.
One of the guys or one of the girls?
One of the girls.
But not that there's anything wrong with dating the guys.
No.
No. Yeah,
Unless
we
you're-
went to a dance or something. Anyway.
Yeah.
We weren't supposed to date, but we got that. Maybe we were. I don't remember.
So I had a discussion with Chat GPT about polygamy this afternoon. And first she gave the church line, and then I talked to her, well, what about the polygamy deniers? And we talked about how there were some discrepancies. But I had her list sort of the, what do you call it, the highlights, the keystone, the milestones. And let's see if I can scroll up just to read some of the milestones of polygamy.
And Gene, you'll have to tell us a little bit about the convention and who you saw.
Yeah. So let's see. It doesn't mention the 1830, 1 or 2 that Tim talked about. But it says in 1835, Joseph Smith is believed to start his first plural marriage, probably with Fanny Alger. 1841, publicly sealed to his first wife. 1843, he dictated the revelation in the Doctrine and Covenants that legitimized it. Now, it didn't get into the Doctrine and Covenants until much, much later, but it was supposedly dictated and then copied down by some scribes, right?
Kingsbury and Clayton and somebody else.
Publicly, Gene?
What?
You mentioned a public sealing. People observed it.
No.
When he was reading, he said public.
Yeah, that's what ChatGPT said. Publicly sealed his first plural wife. Now, I think it just means that it was, so there must have been some other priesthood holders there, or
What date?
1841. Does he seal himself to the first plural wife with only the woman knowing about it? Because I know he would get people to ask other people to join it.
Well, when Brigham and Heber returned from England, it was July of 42, I think.
Oh, so Joseph had already done a few, maybe.
And he told them about it. Yeah, he did a bunch between 38, 39. He did.
But didn't he also have his scribes follow him all through?
Well, okay. If we were to get a hold of William Clayton's diary, if it's not edited, he had sex 3 times a day at 3 different places. William Clayton would arrange it for him, and then he would have sex with Emma that night.
Yeah, and everybody thinks that General Bennett is the bad
John
one.
C. Bennett.
John C. Bennett. Yes.
Well, John was the spiritual wiffery stuff was John C. Bennett.
So one of the presentations at the Journal of Mormon Polygamy conference was that everybody whiffs on spiritual wiffery, because in most of the documents where the church is leveling charges against John C. Bennett, those words are never used in any of the documents. It is used by Bennett at some point later on to sort of describe certain levels, certain area, different sort of just like the celestial kingdom and other kingdoms, certain, like going up a ladder. Like the first rung of the ladder is illicit sex. And that's the
Oh,
first.
that was happening. That's what the Nauvoo High Council held the court about.
Yes, and that's what they accuse him of, is illicit sex.
Right. Right.
Wouldn't it be, whippery should be for a woman and husbandry should be for a man?
Yeah. So what
Yeah.
are all those animal husbandry people at college doing with all those animals?
Exactly. They're whippering them.
They're whipping them into shape.
But one thing that, a couple things that Tim didn't mention is federal laws like the Morrill Act in Morrill in 1862 and the Edmunds Act in 1882
Edmund Stucker.
targeted polygamy, and then the Edmunds-Tucker Act leveled some more stuff. So that that's what caused the church to issue the manifesto in 1890, so that they could back away from those things, so that more army men wouldn't take over Utah.
The government was going to take all their property away.
Yeah,
they were going to confiscate everything.
Yeah, and so
it was about money.
It was about money and property, which is the same thing.
Same thing
in a way.
So what Morrill you were speaking of?
Yeah.
Was he
a lawmaker?
Well,
a senator or something? I can't remember.
It's just interesting because my street that I live on is Morrill, and I'm wondering, was he a historical figure, or was he just a member of the church?
Historical figure.
I don't think he was a member of the church.
Okay, then my street might be named after him.
Who was it? Morrill? What's his name?
Morrill.
Justin Smith Morrill, Vermont representative.
That would have been the twin relics of barbarism.
And that's what started the Republican Party.
That's what started the Republican Party.
They're trying to get rid of the 3 pillars of barbarism.
No, the two.
Oh, twin.
Slavery and polygamy. Slavery and polygamy.
Thought it was 3 because it was reruns. Oh yeah, TV didn't come out by then yet.
Well, not color TV.
Yeah.
He was a Whig.
Yeah, I never got the Whig Party.
Well, the Whigs became the Republicans.
Why didn't there become a fake mustache party develop in America at some point? If you can do Whigs. I know it's spelled a little different, but
1862 is the Anti-Bigamy Act, which targeted the church and the practice of pearl marriage. $500 fine up to 5 years in prison for crime of polygamy. And then there was Reynolds versus United States, upheld the bigamy law.
So see, you could say, Gene, that was very big of you, and I could say that was bigamy.
Gene, that was...
He's on a roll.
It was being around those polygamists, you know. Edmunds-Tucker was when? Let's see. Edmunds-Tucker Act was 1887. Okay.
So I'm not putting up very many of the comments because I'm looking at other tabs. I need a tab that's the resting, the nap tab. You take a nap.
Thanks, Malox. Yeah, I got a haircut and a trim today. Yeah. Went to go see Hail Mary for a second time with my girlfriend today. So.
Yeah. Is that Hail Mary is the name of the movie?
Project Hail Mary.
Oh.
With Ryan Reynolds. Really great film. Great book, great film.
Yeah. What's it about?
The sun is dying from this disease, and there's one star that isn't, and so he goes there to figure out why it isn't dying, and he meets an alien, and they figure out what's going on, and I'm not going to tell you how it ends because it's a beautiful ending. I love the way it ends. He is a real hero in my book. At the end of the story, he is a real hero in more ways than one. But anyway.
So this was the second annual Journal of Mormon Polygamy conference that I went to. Last year I went, and I know the co-founders. I've had them on my show. Tim doesn't think as highly of one of them as he does the other, but sometimes he has issues with both of their history. But anyhow, one thing from my perspective as a former believer is that the more you can say Mormon and polygamy in the same sentence, the better it is for the world.
Now,
you could figure out why it's better for the world. I'll let you know.
Who here, other than myself, is a product of polygamy?
I actually have Randy is adopted, so in a way, he's a spiritual.
I'm a product of unfaithfulness,
spiritual sonnery.
But as far as polygamy, I don't know.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Randy, though, his original family comes from the mafia, so it's a higher level of Mormonism that Randy comes from. It's kind of like the celestial kingdom of familial order, right on earth. And so anyhow, I one thing that no matter what is that the Journal of Mormon Polygamy is promoting more scholarship. So no matter what, it's only going to give us more information about Mormon polygamy. Apparently the church is okay with Michelle working with the Journal of Mormon Polygamy because the idea of it is to promote scholarship, right? Where 132 Problems podcast was basically showing, hey, the church is not telling us the truth because Joseph Smith didn't practice polygamy.
Until she went after me in my paper.
And then what?
She got it all wrong, but that's another story. We need to do that again.
Gene, call Michelle, get her on, so we can watch Tim and Michelle go at it. I mean,
yeah, well, that's the thing is Michelle can't do podcast appearances.
She can't even.
She got a letter. She got a letter threatening her, so she's probably going to get. I'll bet you she's
sent a letter threatening me because I will demonstrate my paper airplane making a difference and fly it right back to the States.
I think her membership is in the balance because of this. Well, they wanted to go to BYU to go to the archives there and special collections and see what documents they had on polygamy. And they stopped them. Somebody from the church came down and said, nope, you can't come to BYU library to see our stuff, which is stupid. But
how many wives, Tim? Jay Castro wants to know.
The church says at least 32 or something like that.
Probably upwards of 40. I think Bill Real has found 2 or 3 others. Yeah, I'd say 35 to 40 is a better guess.
Is Bill Real basing some of his on
the land records? Land records. Yeah.
So if Joseph Smith gave a 17-year-old woman an acre or $1,000 worth of land, whatever the value is, that probably was a wife.
Probably. I'd say definitely. But I can tell you that in the Salt Lake Temple record, and I used to have a copy of it, I don't anymore, there is a name of all of Joseph's wives in there.
In where?
In the Salt Lake Temple record. In the endowment book record, they list all of his wives. No.
So that reminds me that one of the things that I asked ChatGPT was that these people are there's some people that are denying Joseph Smith's polygamy, right? And
because they were told and taught that Joseph didn't practice it, and I don't know. I've known about it since I was a kid. Okay, because my grandmother is practicing polygamy. My grandfather practiced polygamy. So when I'd go to Star Valley after Wyoming for family vacations, my grandfather showed me the article in the historical record that Andrew Jensen wrote. He started to list all of Joseph's wives, and they stopped him. He was going to list every single one.
I wouldn't have believed him unless he showed me a picture of Joseph Smith and one of his plural wives going at it.
Yeah, right.
So I asked ChatGPT, when did the LDS Church fess up to the fact that Joseph Smith had plural wives? And the answer was, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints officially acknowledged that Joseph Smith had plural wives in October 2014. While the practice had been referenced in the 19th century, it wasn't until 2014 that the church's official website openly stated that Smith participated in plural marriage.
See, I know
formal public announcement by the church, and it was in one of the Gospel Topics essays, I believe.
I know that people in my generation knew that Joseph Smith practiced polygamy.
Right, but like I'll say, show me the Sunday school lesson that had a picture of Joseph Smith and anybody other than Emma. Then I'll tell you the church taught it.
Personally, I've never.
All my companions knew about it. When I was in the singles ward in Colorado Springs, people knew about it. It was an open secret.
See, Randy and I were in priesthood meeting, and we'd get a lesson, and the quote would be, Joseph Smith saying, I've been accused of having 7 wives, and I look around and only find one. That proves that he only had one wife. Just like when he had his leg operation, he wouldn't take any whiskey. That proves he never touched a drop in his life.
Yeah, they had a whole barrel full of beer and wine at Carthage jail they drank that night. Yeah. So tell us about the conference. Who spoke and what happened? What do you remember? Give us highlights.
Was Michelle there?
Yes, Michelle was there.
I mean, Michelle Stone.
Yes, Michelle Brady Stone. Yeah, my Michelle wasn't there because
you wanted to score and
she has responsibilities. She'll tell you that she has responsibilities that I don't have. So there was somebody named Gwendolyn Stevens Wine who's actually going to come on Latter Daily Digest in the near future, but she wrote some other book that about Hiram Smith. Because what do you know about Hiram Smith off the top?
He had two.
For the guy that was the second elder of the church, or co-president, or whatever at the time, we know almost nothing about him.
I think he had 3 plural wives, if I remember right.
Right, but I mean, the day-to-day operation, right? I almost think that it's all Hiram, and Hiram was like Moses, and Joseph was Hiram's brother, Aaron. Like Aaron had the rod, and Aaron's the one that talked to the pharaohs and said all these things. And so the mastermind was actually Hiram, but Joseph Smith was let's all do religion.
But Gene, give us a synopsis of the conference. Who spoke? What did they talk about?
Yeah, so I was getting to that. So I talked about then there was a panel that said perspectives on John Taylor's 1886 revelation that the church fessed up to last summer, which is basically John Taylor saying, the Lord says, how can everlasting principle not last forever, right?
See, and there was a copy of that in Fred Collier's unpublished revelations at the back of his book.
Right, but it's all anti-Mormon lies made up until the church says it's
but
not.
I'm just saying it was out there in the polygamous community before the church.
I mean, the polygamists all knew about it, and they all passed them around. But
that's where they got their authority. That's where they claimed they got their authority.
Right, and the church denied it. Even what's his name with the bow tie in 1830, J. Reuben Clark, declared that that revelation didn't exist, and yet it was in the church archives all along, because the church finally fessed up to it last summer. Then there was somebody named Paula Kelly Harline that discussed what 6 provo-polygamous wives wrote about their motivations, housing, and marriage relationships. And so she talked about the highs and lows of what it was like for these women to be polygamists. Then Saturday morning, Ethan Lloyd did a talk about a detailed linguistic analysis of Doctrine and Covenants, section 132, which sort of, I think, because I didn't attend it because it was too early in the morning for me. But anyhow, I think it
I
had.
know how you are in the morning.
I think it had to do with. I'm going to try to find words that proves Joseph Smith wasn't the author of this, right? Because I bet you it was the deniers that want to say it's mostly the scribes type of writing, not Joseph Smith's type of writing, or Brigham Young's words or something like that. But anyway, then Cheryl Bruno talked about Mormon history, polygamy, and the Jubilee box letters. And she submitted that for the journal, and that's printed in the journal so people can go read that. Then Benjamin Freeman Byrd talked about the Council of Friends, the highest quorum of priesthood. Now, Tim, were you ever in the highest in the Council of Friends?
Council of Friends is something that was started by the Woolies. That's post-manifesto polygamy.
Right.
That's it.
But you have the authority of that priesthood, right?
I have LeBaron priesthood, yes. I was ordained by Robert Black.
So if anybody wants to get married to a bunch of women,
I can plurally marry too.
Tim has the authority passed on.
I have the authority passed on to me from Robert Black, yes. Yeah. It happened in September of 2000. What?
You want me to send a few down your way?
Sure.
Okay.
So then Connor Boyack, are you familiar with Connor Boyack, Tim?
No, I don't know him.
So he gave a pretty thorough sort of a hit piece on 132, because 132 talks about concubines.
Yes.
Nobody ever brings it up in any lessons, but he shows how concubinage all throughout the Bible has a specific meaning and is totally not a God thing.
Yeah, he did a presentation Sunday morning. I think I saw that. I was going to watch it, but I didn't get it. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. Yeah, he gave his presentation on YouTube. Very interesting.
Yeah, so Connor Boyack, Connor Boyack. Look up his channel and see he probably gives his presentation again. And then let's see, Darla Driggs gave another sort of hashing out of what 15 polygamous foremothers and their sister wives talked about. And she gave like a micro history of all their experiences. Then Jeremy Hoop, who is an actor that's been in some of the church productions and some other commercials and stuff. He is now a monogamy affirmer for Joseph Smith. And he's been sort of like a voice for them. And he talked about Sarah Crooks and the spiritual wife doctrine in the first British mission, because there was some shenanigans that went on in the British missions, right?
Yes.
Then Margaret Toscano came on and actually said that she gave a little dig by saying it was nice to represent real scholars to be invited to this conference, because she's the only trained scholar.
Cheryl is also
her scholarliness.
Cheryl is a scholar. I consider Cheryl a scholar.
Yeah.
You're the only concubinologist that was there?
You might be the only Cubanologist with your cigars.
Cubanologist, the study of concubines.
Yeah.
And I took a few courses in college.
Yeah, I mean, I'm amateur, willing to study concubines anytime anybody brings it up.
Well, I'll give you a concubinology class sometime.
So let's see. Then there was a panel called "Is There Room in the Church?" and Stephen Pinecker moderated it. And the panelists were Manon Ellsworth, Kimberly Brown, Karen Hyatt, Jamie Lynn Sharp, and Whitney Horning. And all these women were basically mistreated by their priesthood leaders when they uttered their thoughts about the polygamy issue. And Karen Hyatt was excommunicated, and she came on Latter-day Digest. And some of these other women are willing to come on soon as well.
Cool.
And then came the whiffing on whiffery, the redefinition of spiritual wives. And so I read a little bit of this guy's article that he submitted, and it's pretty interesting. His name was David Dangerfield. So he doesn't get no respect, but otherwise he did a really good job.
Dave and Rod, great boys. Yeah.
Then Michelle Stone gave the capstone presentation, Constructing Helen, the Allure and the Illusion of the 14-Year-Old Wife. So she pretty much rips to shreds the idea that Helen Mar Kimball was 14 when she married Joseph Smith. Now, the only real thing that Helen Mar Kimball actually writes, it comes in a letter in 1881,
right,
that talks about how she was married to Joseph Smith, right?
yes,
But everything else that she writes just promotes polygamy and doesn't really mention her own experience in it. And so it was a pretty good presentation, and it could lead to someday Helen Mar Kimball being taken away off the list. You never know. But we'd have to have more information on it. And then they had a light buffet, and it was very good. And for 2 hours, people conversed and chatted over food and fun. I happened to meet somebody while I was there at one of in between the shows, and we were talking about something, and I said something about Ganesh Chirian, and he says, "Oh, Ganesh Chirian came over for lunch a few months ago." And so I called Ganesh later on that night, and Ganesh said, "Oh yeah, that guy Rod is going to see me in a few days." And Rod was going to Australia. Ganesh is on vacation in Australia, and Rod is the guy that I was talking with, and Rod's wife was like a missionary, and Ganesh in Ganesh's ward, and so Ganesh befriended her, and so anyway, it was just like a Mormon connection thing. So you call me the connections wizard, and so that was a connection.
Connections whisperer, Gene.
cool,
Yeah.
cool.
And so overall, it was a great conference. It was $80, although as a member of the media, I was comped, and mainly because I had them on for 2 years in a row and had them promote the conference. And so, but for $80, it's relatively cheap. I think Sunstone's like twice as much. And, there's more things going on in Sunstone, and you have more choices, but it's kind of nice to have this small conference because only one thing's going on at one time. And so you can go to everything that you want to. Sunstone, they might have 5 things and 3 of them are like really good, and you have to pick which one you want to go to.
Right.
But that's fun as well on its own way. And we'll throw that up there because Ganesh, and I'll say this, I say it every time, Ganesh is a god, literally, in the Hindu religion. He's the blue elephant god.
There's a god named Ganesh.
There is.
Nice.
Yeah. And so, yes, Thrive in St. George was pretty awesome. And Kinder Kim's going to go, and Jay's going to go. Songs of Our Own might go someday. But
What are
anyway,
they talking about next February 2027?
So yes, to the Mormon atheist, there's zero contemporary evidence that Joseph Smith practiced polygamy.
I disagree with that, but that's okay.
And yes, and so the Mormon atheist, like if the church publishes any information about it, he'd think that the church lies about everything. Now, I'm going to say that the church lies about a lot, but if you lied about everything, then you become a Saturday Night Live character.
That's right.
Saturday Night Live. Oh yeah, that's the ticket.
That's the ticket.
Every time he was caught in a lie, he would change his mind, right? Changes.
Yeah.
So anyhow. So yes, there's a lot of stuff about in the expositor that is, in a way not Mormon, but we'll see. So the Mormon atheist just says Google it. So I Googled the Mormon atheist once, and it said the Mormon atheist doesn't exist. So I don't know.
Good. I agree. Doesn't exist. That's funny. Yeah.
That's just teasing about Googling things. All right. Songs around laughed at that. Good. What does SDF stand for? I'm not up to all the. Shut the front door. Shut the door front.
I don't know what SDF. What does SDF mean, Jay? Come on, tell us.
And is it necessary to have a lowercase?
Bielefeld doesn't exist. I've been to Bielefeld, Malox. Don't tell me Bielefeld doesn't exist. I've been to Bielefeld.
What's a Bielefeld?
It's a city in Germany. It was in my mission. It was the center. It was the district center for the Paderborn and Detmold branches, and Herne and Hereford and.
Oh, I see. Just saying.
SDF
photo dude had said some things, and so he was just saying SDF as SDF photo dude instead of writing it all out.
Okay, whatever. I don't know.
That's right. No evidence Tim exists.
Even though I've been there. Yeah. I've been to the city of Bielefeld. I've walked the streets. I've ridden at streetcars. And my background keeps falling down. Damn it.
Oh, Jay Castro, congratulations on your recent activation.
It's hot outside. Today's temperature was in the 80s, I think. Jay.
What does Jay mean that he just activated, Randy?
Jay Castro, I don't know. I have no idea. She said she just activated.
Oh. It only got up to 79 today, Jay.
Yeah. And I consider Jay a masculine name, but it could be both.
Jay Castro is not a man.
Okay.
Jay Castro is a female.
Really? Okay.
I think. Pretty sure.
Ich weiß nicht. So, it's Mary Goff.
Advice for snakes. That's what I used to say. That's my German.
I don't know. Okay, well, it sounded interesting. I wonder if Michelle is going to get axed because of it, which would be a shame. But she was warned and she knew, so we'll see.
Oh man, no wonder she hasn't accepted any of my invitations for a date.
So it's another Jay Castro that you're going after. Oh, Randy. Okay. Thank you, Jay. I thought he was a man.
I think Randy has an eternal hope for that everybody is female, so that he could be the male, and everybody else is female. So he has a choice.
The rooster in the hen house.
The rooster in the hen house. You have the big.
Hey, when I was at Rick's.
Why would there be updates on Bo Euler?
What?
Did something happen with Bo now that I'm in Utah?
he was told not to speak anymore about his appearance on John Dolin. They threatened him with excommunication.
Oh,
Ask Bo
John-
Euler. Don't ask
John-
us. We don't know.
maybe John announced it.
I guess my attitude is kind of shitty because I would look forward to the excommunication.
Well, Randy, if you want to be excommunicated, start going back to church and telling them that Joseph Smith didn't practice polygamy, and you'll be ridden out of town on a rail.
If I was excommunicated for doing something wrong, I would have been excommunicated a very long time ago.
That's right.
Apparently,
And if you get ridden out of town on a rail, hopefully it's a holy rail.
I have special blessings that allow me. Well, it's the second anointing. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I can do anything I want and still go to heaven.
So who knows about what is it, The Bachelor? What happened with The Bachelor?
ABC spent millions of dollars on a program they just shit canned.
Well, yeah, because there was a video that arose.
Somebody throwing chairs at children.
Taylor throwing chairs at her husband and hit one of the kids. And she really crapped in her own nest this time.
Okay, Jay. See you later. It's,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Not The Bachelor, The Bachelorette. My mistake.
Bachelorette. Yeah.
Randy's always trying to feminize people, and I'm always trying to
She
masculine.
has 3 children, and she got in trouble when her husband or boyfriend, whatever the hell he is.
So Hallie's saying the
gave-
video was almost 3 years
GNC.
old. I mean, everybody should have thrown chairs at kids 3 years ago. That's not what I say.
Yeah, as long as it was 3 years ago.
Yes. 3 years ago, and it just comes out now.
TMZ is the one that got a hold of the
Yeah,
video.
TMZ got a hold of it. He obviously sold it to them. He probably made a mint, and he ruined his
I actually
ex-wife.
heard those rumors way back then.
Oh yeah, well when it was on the TV show,
Yeah.
Yeah, right, Kinderkill. I don't know.
Yeah, everybody knew about that. It was common
Yeah.
knowledge.
We knew there were problems.
Do you know what I really like is the common knowledge game show on Saturday Night Live.
Where no one can answer anything.
Where they answered like just the wrong answers, but
I always enjoyed the one with Sean Connery,
oh yeah,
the guy when
Celebrity Jeopardy.
Celebrity Jeopardy, when you give the wrong answer.
Your mother, Trebek.
Your mother, Trebek.
That was not a bad Sean Connery, by the way, Gene.
No, great Sean Connery.
It was a great impersonation of the impersonator.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, Jeopardy and SNL. Yes.
And what good parent hasn't thrown a chair at their child? I don't know. That's all I can say about that.
I carried one around everywhere in case my kids acted up.
Yeah.
Well, okay, missing link, but it really doesn't matter if it ricocheted off of her and it still hit the kid,
Right. But once taking off your belt became a child protective services thing, what's left? Just chairs.
Well, look at all these shows look for people who are on the edge, okay? Look at, I worked in the industry. I sent talent to do shows from 2002, 3 to 2006, okay? I worked for Cameo Casting, and we sent extras to movies and TV shows and photo shoots and all that stuff. They're always looking for people on the edge to be in these shows because they know it's always going to cause drama.
There you go. She didn't throw it at the daughter. It just happened to hit the daughter.
Okay, it hit her daughter.
Well, they can't stop having sex. Taylor's incapable of not having sex with
Anybody,
Cody. What's Cody is his name?
with anybody.
Yeah, but especially Dakota, because they're in this big fight. The family chews him out, tells him not to come around again, and then they see each other and boom, in the bedroom.
Well, they should have done the whole Bachelorette, and then just before the people were going to choose or she was going to choose, they could have showed that to the bachelors. And then the bachelors, when she says, "I pick you," and he says, "No, I'm not going to take you. You throw chairs at kids." That's what they should have done. That would have gotten billions of views.
Look we used to send people to really lousy movies to fill seats and get in front of the camera and lie saying a lousy movie was a great movie. All right? So I know how the game works. It's insane.
What's the lousiest movie you ever been to, Tim? Or just pick a lousy movie.
Oh, there was one I saw. I can't remember the name of it. You know the secret cinema that they do at the theater here every month. Well, once a month on Monday or two. I saw a really lousy one a few weeks ago. I can't remember what it was called. That's the most recent lousy movie I saw.
Okay, here's another pitch for Hail Mary.
What?
Missing link. Missing
What
a
is
link.
it? Yeah, it is really good. Yeah, I saw it for a second time today, Missing Link. I saw it opening day on Thursday at 2:00 here. And then I took my girlfriend and went tonight to see it at 3.
So when you see it a second time, what are you trying to look for things that you missed the first time around?
Always.
Like, or trying to see about the nuance acting, see how good they are or something.
Kind of, but I read the book and then I went to see it and I really enjoyed it. I
read the prayer.
There's one point in the movie where it's a jump cut. It's a jump scare. Got me again today, even though it was coming. Okay. So even if you see a movie, more than once, there's still a jump scare there that even though I knew it was coming, it still got me.
So when Star Trek reemerged in 2009 with what's his name, the director? Abrams.
Oh, he ruined it.
Well, it was a good movie though. 2009 was a good movie.
It was, yeah, it was okay. Yes, that was a good one.
So my son-in-law was telling his wife, my daughter, let's go see that movie after I'm done with work or whatever, right?
Okay.
And she goes, okay. So that morning that it comes out, I called my daughter up and I said, hey, do you want to go see the movie? So she goes, yeah. So we went to the theaters and there's only like 10 people in the theater and we thoroughly enjoyed it. And then she went again with her husband that night. And it wasn't until like the end of the movie that she kind of blurted out a hint that she had already seen it. Almost like, oh, wait for this part or something. I don't know what she did. But then he questioned her like, what do you mean you've seen the movie? He goes, yeah, I went. She goes, yeah, I went with my dad today. And then he felt that she had cheated on him.
The movie, it's called The Mastermind. I saw it a few weeks ago and I was disappointed. That's the last bad movie I saw. It wasn't
Hail Mother is Heavenly Mother.
Hail Mary is Heavenly Mother.
So it's a Mormon-based movie?
No, it's Hail Mary full of grace because Grace is the name of the astronaut. Okay.
Okay.
It's a good movie. I enjoyed it the second time. I'll go see it a third time. I may go see it a fourth time.
Did
I
you
really
cry?
liked it. Yeah, yeah, I did. I did.
Are you gonna bawl right now thinking about it?
No,
Do you want some tissue?
And I
no.
haven't seen.
I love the ending. I think it's a beautiful ending. I just love the way the book ended the same way the movie does. I just really enjoyed it. Anyway.
Okay. So Journal of
Uh,
Mormon Polygamy Conference and go see Hail Mary. That's what we're getting
yeah.
out of this.
Okay. But so what else are we going to talk about?
Well,
Is
let's talk
anybody
about Mormon polygamy in general. So Tim, you knew about Mormon polygamy. And I remember the crotchety old guy in the back of Elders Quorum that wasn't ever good enough to become a high priest say, polygamy is coming back. Jesus can't return until the restoration of everything happens.
My friend Dennis's father, who was not a member of the church, he told us he would join the church when polygamy came back. I know somebody who was when it comes back. Well, Randy, I remember.
Tell him it's back. Guess what?
He's been gone for
film his
years.
baptism and then surprise him.
He's been gone for years. This is my friend's father, Dennis's father, Ray. He was a prop man for Perry Mason, all kinds of shows. And he smoked a cigar. Dennis's mother was a member, Sadie, and we would talk about polygamy. 11 or 12, 13 when we were playing and stuff. Anyway.
If I had $1 for every guy I knew that was a prop man for Perry Mason, I'd be broke.
Oh, hey, he was that and the Invaders and some other stuff. He had a rolling tool chest full of guns and props and magazines and stuff they used on the show. And when the show ended, he brought it home, this big orange rolling crate. I'll never forget that. And when Dennis and David and I would play and Jerry would get, what guns are we going to use today? And we'd always put them back, you know. They were just
Baldwin, if he enjoys that.
Ask what?
Alec Baldwin about playing with guns.
These guns were just they were just molded out of pot metal. They weren't real firearms. They just looked like it, you know, like a brief shot. They weren't real. They just took a gun and they made a mold and they made out of pot metal.
So here's an interesting factoid about Mormon polygamy. Is apparently on Wilford Woodruff's 70-something birthday, he wanted
all these women,
to women who had gone on before him, right? So he wanted to be sealed to them. So
on his
there
birthday,
needed to be proxies for these women, and so he wanted a whole bunch of the youngest temple recommend holding women to come and be the proxies.
Yeah, they're at 20 or 30, if I remember right, something like that.
And so that he could hold their hand across the altar and hold the flesh of some young girl while he was being sealed to someone else by proxy.
Yeah.
So
I'm
going to be 70 pretty soon. Maybe
I'm already there.
Michelle will let me do something like that.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, Gene, you're right around the corner from 70.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, like a little kid.
So Kinder Kim, this is when he was alive. But go ahead, Randy.
When I was a deacon, I would look up at the priest blessing the sacrament. And I think, man, now that is a grown-up. But then I would see missionaries on their mission. I'm like, that's a grown-up. Now they're all kids to me.
Right.
You know, even college students are like kids now. What the hell?
Youngsters.
People that retire now are like kids to me, Randy. So here, Tim, I want to broach this subject that the Mormon atheist brings up. He says, "Show me anything prior to 1852 that mentions polygamy. Anything, right?" Now,
the
there were
Book of
accusations.
Anointings, the Book of Anointings, the Sealings and Adoptions, the
So
Nauvoo
things that
Temple
don't have to
Record.
do with Mormons. He doesn't trust anything the church comes out with. The church could have reconstructed the Book of Sealings.
Well, didn't they practice polygamy in the Old Testament?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's prior to 1852. You're calling the Old Testament prior to 1852?
Sure, you bet it is. 1,000
So anyway,
or more years.
But here's another tact I want to take.
Okay.
Tim, you weren't born yet, but there was a secret government program that developed the atomic bomb. In fact, there was a number of secret programs.
The Manhattan Project.
The Manhattan Project. Was the Manhattan Project listed in anywhere in any historical document prior to 1950?
Yes.
Government documents, right?
Yes. All the documents they wrote about it.
But there weren't contemporaneous public newspaper articles about it.
No.
So see, the government in this case would be just like the Mormon Church. You can't trust anything the government says. They could have recreated all that. So the only way you could say the Manhattan Project was real is if a newspaper talked about it.
Right. Okay, if you're going that tact, okay.
Yeah. So if it's just the government talking about it, they could just make up the fact. And when did we finally know that there was a Manhattan Project that was public?
I think it was the 60s, but it could have been earlier than that.
Yeah. So that's pretty amazing. And that's way more people keeping a secret than just the, I don't know, couple hundred in Nauvoo. What were you saying, Randy?
Oh, I knew about the Manhattan Project when the movie came out.
There you go. And so that's just a thing, but just like the Epstein file stuff as well. Who's other than Epstein? Who's in the Epstein files the most?
It became public knowledge on August 6, 1945, when they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima.
And did they announce that we through the project we developed?
It was in the papers. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they didn't know the extent of everything.
130,000 people kept their mouth shut, so they were unaware of it. Well, I can give you an example with my Credible Sport program, the second planned hostage rescue mission that was known by a number of other code names. And it wasn't very well known until I gathered all the documents and evidence together in the videotape and produced it.
And this is for what?
Who remembers what happened in November 1979?
Deep Throat.
In Iran.
The takeover of the embassy?
And American embassy. And then there was a hostage rescue mission in April of that year, April 24th.
Randy didn't know about it until the movie came out 3 years ago.
And then
shortly after, movie? It had Batman in it. The Batman nobody likes.
Michael Keaton?
No, the Batman that nobody likes.
You're talking about
Jen. He's married to Jennifer.
Not anymore.
But yeah,
Argo.
Ben Affleck.
Argo.
So Ben Affleck actually did a good job in Argo, right? Kind of like rebuilt his career.
He cheated a bit with the facts, but yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, he did a good job at the.
He did a good. Yes, he won an award.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm at Lockheed. All right, and I made
1979.
1986.
Okay.
And I make a copy of C-130s. I'm an airplane nut, okay? So I like C-130s, and I made a copy of all the C-130 serial numbers. I had a list, and next to them was Rivet Fire, and all the programs I knew. It was one that said Credible Sport. And because Tim's curious, Tim goes, "What is this?" I can't tell you. What is this? I kept asking people. Then one day I ran into my Fred Moore. He was on, when I was on Gunship, he was contracts. And I said, "Fred, what is this?" And he says, "Oh, they were going to take two C-130s. They put 30 rockets on them, and they were going to take off, land at the soccer stadium across the street from the embassy, and arrested the hostages. They were going to do it in October of 1980. It was planned right before the election." I said, "Really?" So I started to write letters. I had a huge notebook full of all the Freedom of Information Acts I wrote over the years. And then finally I got a hold of Vince Margolonas, who was one of the test pilots, and he sent me the videotape. And then other people sent me more tapes and documents, and I gathered all this stuff together, and I sold it to the History Channel and Discovery Channel for their program.
What?
But it wasn't until I pulled all the information together that the public knew about it. Took me 10 or 15 years, no longer than that. Took me probably 20 plus years to get everything together to do that. Yeah. So all it takes is research. So nobody wants to come on the show? Yeah, he went for director. That's right. Section 132 wasn't made public. No, what?
Okay.
Here comes Jan. Oh.
Yeah. So somebody wants to come on the show. There's the link again. And
This is Jan. This is our attention whore. He always wants
Randy,
attention.
let's talk about your recent release of a show on your channel.
Oh, yeah. I just released a show today. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Sarah Hamla. If you're on TikTok, I'm sure you are. But she's got quite a story. She was abused by her father for right up until she ended up leaving home.
Wow, that's sad.
Yeah, and he was she tried to escape that abuse, and fortunately she was able to. But when she told on her father, went to the bishop, it was for absolutely nothing. People would tell her, "Oh, he's in a phase. Don't worry about it." How do you tell someone who's being abused, "Don't worry about it"? And Dad just kept at it right up until she was 20. She'd come home and he'd insist on her taking her shirt off and showing him how much her breasts had developed. He started doing this when she was 10.
So it was a science project.
And she looked at her mom as if to say, "Please, Mom, don't make me do this in front of Dad. Don't make me have to show him my bare chest." And the mother says, "Oh, just do it and get it over with." And he did that up until she was 20 years old. And then she said, "That's it. I can't do this anymore."
Wow. Yeah, so go to Randy's channel, MomoNomo, and
that's so sad.
Randy, see if you can find the link to that and put it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
And I'll say something that about, I don't know, a handful of people, we'll say 3, 4, or 5, came up to me and recognized me, especially when I was wearing a multicolored hat at the conference. They recognized me as a podcaster, said they appreciated my work, except for Tuesdays with Tim. No, they didn't say that.
Well, there is contemporary evidence for Joe Smith practicing polygamy. It's a novo expositor.
Yeah, so there's that. There's lots
There's
of
that.
accusations of Joseph being a womanizer, that my understanding is.
Yes.
And so I once heard a rumor that there's going to be at some point some evidence of Joseph Smith DNA through an unmarried line.
That's
So
entirely
where
possible.
he womanized somebody.
Well, it's like I think it was Josephine Sessions, where Sylvia Sessions was one of Joseph's plural wives. She was a polyandrous wife, and she named her daughter Josephine. Maybe it might be Sessions. I might get this wrong, but I think that's what it is now. Yeah, she was married to Pomeroy. Yeah, Pomeroy. Anyway, and she named her daughter Josephine because she thought that Joseph was her father. And it found out later from DNA that that's not true.
Right. But still the idea
The
was out
idea
there.
was out there, yes.
Yeah.
So people knew, I mean.
And I'll tell you that Catherine Hyatt, who Randy and I interviewed 4 months ago or so, right after she got excommunicated, and it was a great show. She told me that being interviewed by me and Randy was the best time she had among all the interviews. It was the most.
That's great. That's
Who
great.
was this?
She liked our laid back approach and just casual. I'll just say unprofessional, amateurish. She didn't say those words, but she said it was the best thing. And actually, Karen just sent me a message on Facebook Messenger. She said, "I can't remember. Where does Randy live? We need to drag him to the next conference," with a laughy face. And I said, Saudi Arabia somewhere, so that way she understands why you couldn't make it.
The name of the town is BF Egypt.
BFE. That's the postal code. Yeah, so I told her Spokane. So I said, I'm going to tell her that Randy's going to do a show, Music in the Spokane Word, someday.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So anyhow, if you want to join us for the after show, the link is there.
Nobody's willing to come on. Come on, people.
One last call.
We can talk about anything you want to talk about. This is your chance. Come on. The link is there.
I don't want to talk about cats.
You can ask me about the cats. We lost one a couple weeks ago, and we just picked up another one yesterday. My roommate, we had this one cat that's been coming in, and he picked her up last night and brought her in. So,
what is our? Never mind.
What is our what?
Our motto?
What, Randy?
That you think is kind of clever, and you're going to say it, and then you think about it, and it's like
your brain screeches to a halt.
Yeah, it's like don't say it.
You're about to open your mouth, and all of a sudden,
Yep, came to a screeching halt.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll say, I was going to say, and then I say it anyway, just so people know that I have some ability to reserve, to take off the brakes, but then I do it anyway, just so that people know what it was.
Come on, people, please. Come on.
Tim?
What?
You said we could talk about anything, right?
Yes.
And I was just going to suggest female circumcision.
Okay. It's disgusting. It's horrible.
I know. I read an article on it today. That's why it's in my mind.
I heard an article on the. You're getting me choked up, man. I heard a story the other day on the radio about it on NPR. How disgusting.
So there could be current members of the church that were recently baptized in Africa that believe in that and do it.
I never thought about
that. It's done
in
Africa, right?
Yeah.
In certain cultures.
Yeah, I don't remember what all cultures, but it's cruel and it's just horrible. And they did it, by the way, on um, the Housemaid's Tale. They did it to a woman. You
On
remember that?
the Handmaid's Tale?
Handmaid's
Oh
Tale.
yeah, they did it to that one girl with the
Yeah,
eye patch. I
yeah.
really liked. I love that character. Yeah,
Sure, you know.
that's right. That's right. They did. Yeah, that's right. What else? Come on. So nobody's willing to come on.
They're afraid of you, Tim.
I will be nice. I promise. Hey, I'm in a good mood. I saw, this movie is a feel-good movie when you need a really feel-good movie. That's why I enjoyed it so much when I saw it. That's why watched it twice, and I'll probably go back and watch it again. I mean, I love the book. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Okay, come on, guys. Come on. Even if you have hiking hair, I don't care.
My son was not at the Oscars, by the way.
Oh yeah, what was the story about that?
He was in Japan working on a movie.
Oh.
And yeah, Netflix actually hired him and wined and dined him in Japan. He was doing for a movie that's about to come out. And trying to remember the name of it. It's like,
we'll tease everybody. You'll come out with the name of it when you're good and ready.
now I'll have to find it.
Let's see. I was going to say something. Tim is just too handsome. Might be AI. Yeah, Tim. How do we know if you're real?
What do you want to know? Well, do you think Jan is not real? Jan, tell him you're real. How can I be AI? If I was AI, well, you could run it through. Okay. I got a picture last week from somebody claiming that they were a real estate agent, and I ran it through AI, and it verified that the photograph they sent me was AI.
Wow.
Randy's frozen.
Yeah, Randy's frozen. That's a good picture of Randy, though.
I think One Piece, the movie.
One Piece?
Piece.
Okay.
Hasn't been announced yet, but it will be. And then you'll say, hey, I heard that on Tuesdays with Tim.
So I was going to talk to Randy about, the story I had, because you said your son was in Japan, and that brought my mind back to when I was a kid. My dad got a kick out of this thing because a neighbor girl was really kind of young, and when my dad would visit the neighbors, they would do this thing. And you know how parents do this thing when you're little to make everybody laugh, and the little person doesn't know why they're being laughed at, but it's because they say the wrong things.
Yeah.
So they asked the little girl where she was born, and she said she was born in a pan.
Okay.
Her parents had an expatriate job in Japan, and she was born in Japan. And so that was like her identity, was she was born in Japan, but she didn't have the right way of saying it as a toddler, right? So it was the big show, like, hey, Darla, where were you born? I was born in a pan.
That's just like.
And then all the adults laugh at the expense of this toddler, and stuff like that happens.
My friend's son couldn't say chitty chitty bang bang
without swearing.
Without swearing.
When I was
here's Mark walking around saying, "Hey, we just saw shitty shitty bang bang at church." It was like, oh.
So that reminds me when my granddaughter first heard fireworks on 4th of July or something else. she was trying to say firework, and she'd say, fuck. Fuck.
Fire truck.
I was getting too mixed up too.
And so it made her dad, my son-in-law, just laugh. And we have that. I think I even posted that to my Facebook page once.
Cool.
But
I remember the first joke that I learned, and it was from my dad. And my mom and dad were doing visiting teaching, home teaching in the same visit, because my mom visiting taught the lady and my dad was the home teacher of the man. And they took me along with them. And they put me in a room to play with toys and stuff. And I think I was 5. And then I came wandering out, and I said to everybody, hey, you guys, do you want to hear a joke? And my mom and dad were like, you know a joke? Yeah. And I said, in front of God and the world, I said, this woman was in a bar, and the guy asked if she wanted a ride home on his Harley. And she said, oh, no, thanks. I have my menstrual cycle. And I thought that it must have been a hilarious joke.
yeah, you had no idea what it meant.
I didn't know what a menstrual cycle was. But
You're supposed to ask, was it a 750 menstrual cycle or a 1000?
Dad said, where did you get that? And I'm thinking, really, are you asking me this? I said, I heard you say it. He didn't teach it to me. I heard him say it. And yeah.
Did you get him in trouble?
They weren't very proud of me on that night for repeating the joke.
Yeah. So there you go.
Crazy.
Menstrual cycle was mentioned on our show today, the first time in history.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Oh boy.
What is the theme for next week? Do we have any clue?
No.
So we do have a recommendation from Songs of Our Own, and we'll look it up. It won't take but a minute. What's your name, Tim? I have to look up something from Tim. So we can either do
Age of Consent in the state. Oh.
Favorite TV shows.
Funniest Mormon dating story. Favorite TV show. Favorite LDS quote. LDS celebrity stories.
I think we did LDS celebrity stories already.
Yeah. Camp out. People
That's just
camping out.
something else you typed in. So I'm thinking if we do favorite TV shows, there has to be some sort of Mormon tie-in. Like it's a favorite show because there's a Mormon actor in it, or because like what's it called on the prairie?
Little House on the Prairie.
Little House on the Prairie is like Mormon pioneer life, right? So there's or the girls show dresses on Little House on the Prairie are what all the girls wore. Dresses. What were they called? There was a brand that sold those. They're like Little House on the Prairie dresses, but I can't remember if anybody knows what that brand was called. I don't know if Michelle.
Calico.
I have a superpower, and that is remembering all the songs from these old TV shows, like Petticoat Junction, Beverly Hillbillies, all these, Green Acres. I still have all those songs.
That's because they were a good earworm.
Yeah. Come ride a little train that's a rolling down the tracks to the junction.
Petticoat Junction. Green Acres is the place for me.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
So-
So nobody wants to come on.
So yeah,
Last call.
thanks everybody for watching. If somebody
Thank you
happens to
for
come
being
on in the
here.
after show, we'll say hi.
Yeah.
We'll stick around for a few minutes, and we'll see what happens. Let's see. The Salt Lake Expositor will stick a thorn in the side of the church this Sunday, just like we always do. It's a very small thorn. I don't even know if the church even itches.
Talk about your show on Sunday that we did.
So we wait until Friday to determine what the title of the show is so that we get a full news week in. And so it comes, usually we get the thumbnail done on Saturday sometime. So I don't know, is there anything Mormony news so far this week?
Try to give ourselves 15 minutes to do all the research and
Mormon news.
Yeah, we want to have enough time to prepare.
oh, let me tell you, it's going to be a good show this Sunday. I don't even think we should tell them what it's about, Gene.
You know, no matter what, it's sort of like when I would work at doing the change for Stanford, and I'd say, "You want to go to a game and take somebody's place?" And they'd say, "Well, who are they playing?" It doesn't matter who they're playing. It's big league, you know, college football, NCAA Division I. It's going to be good. And our NCAA Division I person is Jessica.
Oh,
right. Yeah. Jessica, we have to rein Jessica in. That's how good she is.
Yep.
So we can ask Kim, do you want to come on the show or the after show? Thumbs up if you want to come on the show. And I can't see you have to do it near your forehead. Thumbs down. So thumbs down.
We need to see your face.
Oh,
Kim.
Weirdest Mormon potluck dish. I like that, Hallie. That's cute. Okay, give us some more suggestions.
Okay, so we could do like Mormon culture.
Yeah. Right? Okay, well, next week we will ask for some more suggestions since we're going to.
So go ahead, Kim, nod if you want to come on, or shake your head no if you want to do the after show. Or just go away.
She did more than that, didn't she? Hey, I think we should call next week's episode "Funeral Potatoes."
Yeah.
No,
that could be about all the culture of Mormonism.
I thought we're going to do favorite TV shows next week.
Yeah, we'll do favorite TV shows next week.
Favorite TV shows next week,
and then we'll do funeral potatoes the week after, or unless something else comes up. All right. Yeah. We'll talk to you later. We'll see you.